Welcome back, Man Hour Nation. It's your boy Brandon Combs here with Tori Anderson, and we are about to bring you an amazing interview with Tim Dillard, who is a former pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers and is the current he's play-by-play, correct, Tori?
He is the pregame and postgame co-host
Oh,
of the
pregame and
Milwaukee
postgame.
Brewers on
Okay.
Valley Sports
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
All right, perfect. So we're gonna bring him on. I know most of you guys know that I'm a Cubs fan, so bringing on a Brewers guy is kind of interesting. But we'll talk to him. I got some questions to throw at him, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's welcome on Tim Dillard to the show. What's going on, Tim?
Hey, nothing much. Just doing some laundry.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that at all. I usually, throw it down the stairs and let it sit there until the girlfriend does it. But
Yeah, well, I'm here by myself. My family's back in Nashville, so I'm just out here in Oak Creek, sleeping on a couch, doing my laundry.
that's awesome.
So that's when we were kind of talking too. I'm like, man, you went from retired to a new job in like a week.
It's almost like I knew I was going to have another job when I retired.
Weird.
Yeah, who would have thought?
So I did get a question from, well, he's actually one of my friends and he's a fan too. And you'll know him as Johnny Bananas. He's like, is he coming back? Is Tim going to come back to fantasy camp? Because that's all I really want to know.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I talked to Rock the other day. I was asking him about it because he hasn't brought it up to me in a while, Bill Schroeder. And anyway, he was like, said, "Oh, Timmy, you're a lifer. You're a lifer at fantasy camp." So I was like, I guess that's a good thing. So yeah, I guess I'll be there for fantasy camp, man. That's a lot of fun. You should come.
Yeah, that's one. There's a life goal right there is to go to make it out to that fantasy camp one time.
Now expand on that a little bit. What exactly is the fantasy camp for those listeners that don't understand what that is?
Yeah, so it doesn't matter who you are. You have enough money, basically. You get to go to Arizona and kind of do the baseball life for a week. You play like 8 games in 7 days. You have practices.
Oh, wow. You're
part of a team. You get the jersey, you get the locker, you get the spikes and shoes and everything. Oh, sorry. I'm blocking the...
That is amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool. And
that sounds like I need to start saving up, though.
Yeah, I don't even know how much it is, but they pay me to be like a coach, so I throw batting practice and basically just, hang out with them. I don't have as many stories to say like, a Jason Kendall or somebody, but, there's a lot of fun to be had, and you get to, walk away with a pulled hamstring and a, and a hurt back. So there you go.
Yeah, I just hit 40 a couple weeks ago, so I know all about pulled hamstrings and tight backs, and yeah, absolutely 100%. So Tim, working with the Brewers, I mean, obviously you pitch for the Brewers and doing their pre and post game now. It seems to be a lot of way that players are going after their playing career is over. They go and they do the pre and post game, or they get into calling games. Is this something that you always saw yourself doing?
Not really. I didn't know what I would do after baseball. I've been trying to figure that out since about 2013 because I thought my career was over then, and started trying to do different things, and everything would always fall through, and I'd get another job playing. So I don't know. I never really thought about exactly what I would try to go into as far as, the next career. But
yeah,
I mean, I'm glad I have something. It's good to have a job, I've heard.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're in the league and you're playing at that level, I mean, it's something that you dream of as a kid. I know for me, I was always like, hey, I really love to play baseball. I'd love to be a Cub one day. And I thought that if I played, Little League once every 3 weeks, I would, become like this all-star baseball player, But what is it like when you finally get in and you break into the bigs and you get to the show and you're just, your first experience walking out on that major league field, man? What is it like?
Wow. I mean, it's been so long ago, I don't even know if I can remember now. I don't know. It's just, it makes you feel like you can do anything. Like, I'd never thrown 100 miles an hour before, but when I got on the mound, I'm like, I'm going to try to throw this ball 100 miles an hour. And you almost have to, you almost have to fight against those things, right? You have these irrational thoughts. Hey, I'm gonna throw a curveball. I've never thrown a curveball, but now's the time. So I don't know. It just makes you feel like you're not even touching the ground. Like everything's great. You
Right.
just it's it's pretty awesome. It's also really nerve wracking, especially for somebody like me. I never got a contract or anything like that. So every single day I'd walk in the clubhouse, like, do I still have a job? You know, that kind of thing. So it's pretty amazing. Like all the stuff that I went through, like all, injuries growing up and, the time I put into, I was drafted twice as a catcher by the Brewers. So like all the time and effort I put into like my craft as a catcher and then into a pitcher, like just, it's worth it. It really is. It's a crazy life. It's not for everybody. But if you get in it and you enjoy it and you like the movie Groundhog Day, then you'll be fine.
Yeah, see, for me, like as you can tell by all the stuff in the background and the gear that I'm wearing, I'm a diehard Cubs fan. Like I grew up a Cubs fan. It's just in my blood. You know what I mean?
No,
so
my dad played for the Cubs.
Really?
Yeah, back in like the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And he coached for the Cubs in the minor leagues in 1995. You got to meet Harry Carey and Steve Stone up in the booth. So, yeah, I mean, I have ties to the Cubs right now. Right now, they're the enemy, but yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get into here is that, there's a huge rivalry growing. I mean, obviously for me, I grew up and I still to this day, like anything that I can do, but screw the Cardinals, man. I can't stand the Cardinals. Every time we face them, I want to see. I told somebody one time that I don't care if we lose 110-0, as long as every batter that comes up to the plate, we just plunk them. I just want to hit every the Cardinals are the worst. I hate the Cardinals, but the Brewers are kind of a newer because they were always in the American League and then they came over to the National League. So it's really a fresh rivalry. I mean, this is something that's been, it was 95, 96 where they came over to the National League. And so it's more of a fresh rivalry and really wasn't that big of a rivalry really until, the Brewers and the Cubs both started getting good. There was a long time where the Cubs were just atrocious to watch. And then when they were atrocious to watch, the Brewers were good. But when the Brewers were atrocious to watch, the Cubs were good. And then, probably about 2013, we both got, relatively competitive. And we started growing and both have really good, young, solid cores. When you are... as a player, do you feel that intensity? Do you feel that rivalry when you're going up against like a Chicago Cubs or a St. Louis Cardinals? Is that something that's for you guys, or is that more of a fan type thing?
I think as a player, you want to win everything. If I'm a pitcher, I want to win every game, every inning, every at bat, every pitch, because you can't think too far ahead. So. I would say there's sometimes when you're kind of you walk in the clubhouse, you don't even know who you're playing that day. I know that's not really being negligent. It's like you're just showing up for the day. It's like, okay, turn my baseball brain on. It's like, who we got? Oh, we're playing the Cubs. All right, let's dig into who I'm going to face and what that's going to look like. And, let's start talking about the defense and things like that. So, I mean, on like the player side of it, they really just think moment by moment rather than there's nobody in the clubhouse talking about the World Series, or playoffs. Like that's so far away that no one's really on that spectrum. As far as rivalries, I gave up a walk-off hit to Starlin Castro to lose a game in 2000 something, and it was really loud. If we were at Marlins place, maybe there's not as many people there. Probably wouldn't have been as loud. But I don't know. It's a tough thing because it's very intense. I played winter ball in Venezuela in 2014, and they hang on every single pitch. Like you throw a ball, it's like, boo. You throw a strike, they're like, yeah. So that's kind of what you get from rivalries that are that intense. But as far as the players are concerned, like you saw it the other day in the game, tempers kind of flared a little bit, and they just kind of, they extinguished it real quick. It's a long season. They're about to face them like 16 more times in the next month. It's like,
I was actually at Wrigley on Wednesday.
Pace ourselves. Yeah.
I was at Wrigley on Wednesday. It was a good game, going to extra innings. And Kane really, I know Tori texted me right after Kane hit that 3-run shot and said Kane for the win and all that. And it's one of those back and forth things for me. I don't really I don't dislike the Brewers as much as I dislike the Cardinals just because of that. For me, it's Craig Counsell, your manager. Like I see Craig Counsell and Craig Counsell's face when they show him on TV in the dugout, and I want to start kicking puppies. Like that's just what it is for me. Like I don't know why, but Craig Counsell is just that guy for me. I don't even know why. It's just
I don't get it because Craig Counsell is one of the nicest people on the entire face of the earth. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And when he was in the World Series for the Arizona Diamondbacks and beating the Yankees, like I was a big Craig Counsell fan. Like I loved Craig Counsell then. But now that he's managing the Brewers and the rivalry is starting to get heated, and there's been a lot of hit batters, more so on the Cubs side. I believe you guys hit 5 Cubs in the last series. And I think 4 of them were Wilson Contreras. So it started to get heated a little bit.
But the one was that nasty Freddie Peralta curveball that the guy swung at and it hit him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times, like, early in the season you're going to get hit, and Contreras ggets hit a lot. He kind of dives into the ball. It's like if you don't want to get hit, don't dive into the ball. But what reminds me is when Pujols was with the Cardinals. You want to know why you probably dislike the Cardinals? It's probably because of Pujols and Tony La Russa. Because anytime you threw a pitch, I say you, but I never pitched against him. He knew better. But like every time there was a ball that was almost a strike, it was 2 inches inside. And, Pujols would be like, whoa, he'd look at the dugout. Tony La Russa was on the top step just staring, right? Like that was. And what they were really doing, in essence, is trying to eliminate that inside corner by saying, hey, don't throw it in there because we're going to make throw a fit. So that was kind of what was going on in the clubhouse. It's like nobody wants to play against these guys because if you're playing your game and you pitch inside and it's 2 inches inside, everyone's, upset about it for whatever reason. So I think if you're a guy that gets hit a lot, you just have to know that, and if you don't want to get hit, then you kind of have to move off the plate. But all that has nothing to do with getting hit in the head. You get hit in the head, you're allowed to be a little sensitive. That's okay. But, absolutely. I think he only get hit twice, and one of them was like a backup curveball. It's just, but for the most part, if the scouting report is to get you out inside, then that's where you're going to pitch. I mean, look at Braun. Braun was, if you pitch him inside, that was how you got him out. If you missed over the plate, it was a home run. If you missed too far in, he'd move. But that was the scouting report.
Right. And that you bring up Ryan Braun, and one of the conversations that we've had on our show a lot is, about the steroid era and that effect. And I am very pro steroid era. Like I don't care. Like steroid era is the steroid era. I believe it was a level playing field. I don't believe that there was very many guys who at that time weren't juicing. I think that playing field, I think that's what brought baseball back, that McGuire Sosa home run chase. So for me, when I look at the steroid era, I am more angry with baseball for the way that they handled those players after they got their hand caught in the cookie jar. Like I feel like baseball made millions and billions of dollars off of the steroid era and then got their hand caught in the cookie jar and threw these guys under the bus. Like I am of the belief that Barry Bonds is the greatest player that has ever stepped on a baseball field. Hands down, he is one of for me it's Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds, 1A, 1B. That's how I feel about it when I look at the numbers and I look at the stats. So as a player, and as something that you guys, I'm sure that this is conversations that you've had and conversations that you, as you've grown in the game and in the sport, and especially at that level, how do you guys feel about that type of stuff?
Everybody has their own opinions on it, right or wrong or whatever. I never did anything like that. So for me, I don't know. Could I have taken steroids and made, $10 million? It's like, maybe. I don't know. It's one of the trade-offs, though. And if it's just a slap on the wrist or, hey, nowadays you get, 80 games or something like that? Part of you has to sit there and go, okay, well, what's the trade-off? So what do I tell my kids? Like, hey, why don't you do this, try to get away with it, and we'll see what happens. Or, maybe you'll be rich or what, I don't know. So that's kind of the trade-off. It's from person to person, like how you feel about it. But there's a lot of things in baseball that you can't control, right? So for me, if I can't control it, then it's hard to just kind of worry about it. So once, as a pitcher specifically, you sit there and throw the best pitch in the world, and the guy, hits a dinker, broken bat, and the umpire, calls him safe at first. It's like, well, you did your job, and then it didn't work out. So there's a lot of stuff that's out of your control. But anyway, I had to move the camera. The dryer's going.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
I'm like, huh, blew off balance there.
Yeah. So we talked about about the steroid era there. Now I am of the big thing. Like right now, I hate the Houston Astros. That's my big thing on the show. If people want to come at me, they start talking about the Houston Astros. So I think the steroid era was okay, but what the Astros did was on a different level. Do you feel the same way? Like, is that pretty much a general consensus that when you are using the technology to steal signs and to steal pitches, is that part of the game, or is that just look, you guys went about it the wrong way, and I don't like what you did?
I mean, it's just from what I could hear, what happened, they were putting cameras in the outfield, and they had it zoomed in on the catcher, and then they had the signs, and then they're relaying it. If that's what happened, that's pretty much cheating. I mean, that's like about as cheating as you can get, and they got caught or whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, just on a personal level, like you're talking about guys that, I mean, you're costing a young guy. Like say I'm a young guy, I'm trying to get my foot in the door in the big leagues, and I face the Astros, and I get just absolutely crushed. Like maybe I was doing well, and then I got just blown up one game, and they send you down, and then you never go back to the big leagues. Like. And then you find out they're cheating. I think there's actually a guy that did that. He may be filing a lawsuit or something. Who knows? Like, you're missing out on life-changing experiences and money and all that kind of stuff. But and on another note, it is kind of dangerous. Like, if a hitter knows exactly what pitch I'm throwing and what location, I mean, that puts me at risk just being on the mound. I've seen a lot of guys get hit. I've been hit a lot. I mean, it's dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Tori, how do you feel about the Astros?
I'm pretty much in the same boat as you guys. Like, I just can't. Like, well, you saw it the other day when who we did a who's hot and who's not, and I put the Astros in there, and it absolutely killed me to talk good about the Astros just because of the severity of the stuff that they did. And we've talked about that too. Like, the players basically got immunity from it. It's like, oh, it wasn't us, or we're going to cooperate. Like, there are some guys that probably should have taken a little bit more punishment in my book. Like, I'm a big union guy, but some of the guys should have took a little heat for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tim, one of the players who gets booed every time he comes up at Wrigley, louder than anybody, is Christian Yelich. And every time he comes to the plate, man, the fans are booing him. And as a Cubs fan, like, I get it because he kills the Chicago Cubs over the last 3 or 4 seasons, but when a guy like that, I'm a baseball guy, so even though I love the Cubs, like, I'm just like, I will watch probably 12 games a week, and 4 or 5 of them will be Cubs games, and then whatever else is on, I'm watching it because I just love the game that much. When I see a guy like Christian Yelich come up, even though he's playing for the Brewers, if it's not a tight game and he can't, affect the outcome, like, I want to see him do something cool. I want to see Christian Yelich do something good. Is there a better player and maybe even a better guy off the field right now in the game than Christian Yelich?
I don't know. That guy is every bit of who he is. I mean, he's a nice guy. He's a fan favorite. I mean, he gives props to his teammates. He does everything right, and he's an exceptional player. I was actually here in Milwaukee for Fan Fest that year. He got picked up, and like the day before they picked him up, and they brought him and Lorenzo Cain, and I got to meet him. And I mean, he was just a nice, humble dude that was excited, and he's the same way now. But I think you talk about being a baseball guy. I think you can. There's a certain level of, yes, you're a fan. Like, I'm going to be a fan of the Brewers. I'm working for the Brewers. They're paying me to be a fan. No, just but the idea there is you want to see good baseball. That should be if you're a real baseball fan, that should be your goal every time you watch a game. You want to see good baseball. And what is that? That's guys going out there and competing, doing the best they can, showing off their talent and their skills. And to me, that's one thing that when Yelich is at the plate, you have to sit there and watch him because you don't know what he's about to do. He may do something really special. I got to see one his cycles in 2018. I was actually at the game, and that's him. At any moment, you have to watch players like that because they're special and you don't know what they're going to do next.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, as a fan, you want to see something special happen. But I was at the game on Wednesday, and look, Woodruff and Hendricks were both dealing. I mean, it was a great game.
Oh, yeah.
Pitchers duel through 7 innings. And I texted Tori because Woodruff had a no-hitter into the 7th. And I said, I texted him, I said, I repeat, Woodruff, and I'm trying to jinx it now, because I know I want to see something special. Like, I want to see, if he would have no-hit the Cubs, I'd have been like, that sucks. The Cubs got no-hit. But I would have been like, wow, I got to see a no-hitter live. You know what I mean? Like, so the fan in me would have been like, damn, that sucks. But the baseball guy in me would have been like, man, that was awesome. But I did. I messaged him, and I said, and I was like, I repeat, Woodruff has a no through 6. And then Happ, came out and broke it up. So, but
we can't repeat what I said back to you.
Yeah, I can't repeat that live on the air. We could talk backstage about it for sure, but he he definitely had something to say. But no, it's one of those things that as a baseball guy, like you said, you always want to see something cool happen. You always want to see, something great. Like you want to be at the 62 home run, when Sosa or McGuire hits number 62, no matter who you're a fan of, you want to be there. A perfect game, you want to be there. And one of the things that I've noticed as a fan growing up is that fans are stupid. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, fans, I would say probably about 65% of them don't even know what's going on during the course of a game because they're either drinking or they're, watching the kids run around or doing whatever they can. So as players, how much do the fans, when you're at an opposing stadium, how much do you let them get in your head before you start talking back? Because I do see some players, like I saw Lorenzo Cain chirping with some of the guys in center field, some of the fans in center field the other night. How much, have you ever gone back and forth with a fan joking around?
Yeah, no, I grew up in the clubhouse. My dad was a player. Then he was a coach. All I've ever known is the clubhouse, and that's just kind of part of the game. Like, if you don't like to get yelled at, then maybe this isn't the right job for you, And I would say a lot of times guys just don't even pay attention at all. One time we were at Wrigley playing catch. This was probably 2008, and there were fans when we were playing catch. Probably an hour and a half before the game, and we're just sitting there and we're just getting yelled at. Just yelled all of this. They're just going down the line, Gallardo, you're blah blah blah. They're saying some really awful stuff, and they're just going down the line. I'm throwing next to Ben Sheets. I'm just sitting there going. I started noticing that everybody's wearing like a hoodie, like no one's wearing their jersey, and I'm the only pitcher wearing a jersey. And then it dawns on me that's the reason they're not doing that, because they're covering up their people don't know who they are outside of a jersey. So anyway, they're going down the line. They get the Ben Sheets, and they're just like, man, they're laying into him. They're talking about his family and all sorts of stuff. And I was just like, I can't believe I'm trying to play catch. And then they're like, hey, Dillard, we don't know who you are, but I bet you're terrible. And I'm like, I am kind
of. I can't let stuff like that go. I'd be like, you want to compare paychecks?
Yeah, well, the thing. So I talked to Sheets afterwards. We're in the clubhouse, and I was like, dude, I would have climbed the ivy, man. I've climbed the ivy, And I was talking to him like, you weren't upset. He was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, did you not hear what they were saying about you, like in the stands just a while ago? He was like, who was up there? Like, completely had no idea what was going on. And I think once you reach a certain level, it just doesn't matter. And nobody's really ever. I mean, people have yelled at me, and I don't say anything back. Most of the time, I'm just kind of like, okay, cool, But here's the thing about baseball: you can be as in depth of a fan as you want to be. If you just like showing up because you get to drink beer and eat hot dogs, like I like to do that too. So I've actually done that since I've been here. Short season, but I'm already been here doing that. So you can be that fan, or you can be the stat guy that digs into every little thing and figure out how many right-handed ground balls left-handed relievers got in the 6th inning after 2 outs with a man on third. Like, you could find that out if you
Right.
wanted to. So there's so many different levels of being a fan. I think that's what I love so much about baseball is it doesn't discriminate. You can be 5-year-olds, like my kid and play t-ball, and you can be 80 years old and play, a men's league, and everywhere in between. It doesn't discriminate. Whoever you are, whatever your talent is, tall, short, thick, wide, skinny, it doesn't matter. Baseball's for you. And so that's the same with fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I always like is like when you get on YouTube and you see some of the fan interaction where it's not like they're yelling like bad things, but like the players will come back and be like, hit a home run and then walk back and point at the guy who was just, chirping them or whatnot. And I actually had one of those. Yeah, I had one of those altercations when I got out of the Marine Corps back in 2003, I moved to New Hampshire for a little while, and they got the New Hampshire Fisher Cats up there, and Dustin Pedroia had come to down with the Portland Paw Sox. And Dustin Pedroia, the guy's like 5'6", 5'7" on a good day, and he looks, really tiny, and he was young at the time, and he was a shortstop. So he grabs a bat, and I'm sitting front row, and I'm like, why is the bat boy swinging a bat? And like he glared at me, and it was a legit question because I thought he was the bat boy. And that day he went 5 for 5 with 2 home runs and 3 doubles. And after he hit his last home run, he's walking across his home plate, walks to the dugout, and the whole time he locks eyes with me and doesn't take his eyes off me all the way through the dugout. So I was like, lesson learned. As a fan, you kind of you didn't know at the time, but when you say something. That was my first interaction. Like, hey, these guys actually hear what you say sometimes. That's why I've always kept it professional. Like when I go to games and stuff like that, like I'll chirp, I'll joke around, especially with other fans of other teams and stuff like that. I joke around with Tori all the time too, And when you start getting personal with the players, or you start screaming stupid stuff out there, man, like I almost want to throw you out in the field just so they can kick your butt. Like I want to see the whole team jump you, so I kind of want to throw you out on the field. And that's one of those, like, I'm glad that at that time he didn't understand or didn't even pay attention to what they were saying, because that type of stuff needs to stay away.
Maybe you just had ketchup on the side of your face, and he was just like walking back after hitting his home run. Like,
yeah, that could have been what it was. That could have been what it was. Tori, you got anywhere else you want to go with this?
Well, you just talk over them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes the voice cuts out. Sometimes, my bad.
No. I was just gonna say, like, I was in A-ball in 2004, and we had like some college kids that were just by the bullpen. They were yelling at us, and we don't really care. I mean, nobody cares, honestly. It's just all in good fun. We're used to it. Players are used to it. It's not a big deal. But these particular guys, about 3 or 4 of them, they were just getting really, really rated R, let's say.
Yeah.
And there was there's families around. There's kids. There's kids going to ask for balls, and they think they're being fun by yelling profanity. So I told one of the kids, I was like, hey, man, you want a ball? And the kids were like, yeah. I was like, okay, go tell the security guy in the concourse over there that these dudes are using bad words. And the kids were like, okay. So they went. Next thing you know, security guy comes down. Those college kids didn't let up. And sure enough, they kicked them out. But that comes from just like, why can't we just enjoy something, right? Like if you have to come there to shout negative remarks or racist remarks that we're getting down there, whatever it looks like, if that's what you have to do, you might not want to do it in a baseball setting, because there's kids around, there's families around. They're wanting to enjoy it for the sheer entertainment value. So it's not really like players don't really care about that stuff. It's more or less like how it comes off, from you and all the people around you. So I don't know. I want it to be a fun place. I have kids. I want my kids to go to a game and enjoy it.
Yeah, you always get those guys who want to take it too far. That's why I enjoy some of there's a lot of funny banter. Like the other day, the Angels fans got a little bit crazy with the Astros in town, and they threw like a rubber, but they brought up a blow up trash can and threw it on the field before they threw a real one. So that, to me, that type of stuff is kind of funny. The Oakland A's playing Carrie Underwood's Before He Cheats while they were announcing the Astros lineup was another good one. That is just good jeering. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff that I like. But some of these people get a little bit too personal.
I just want to know, where did they get a real? Did they like steal a real trash can from the stadium to chuck on the field? How do you sneak a trash can in?
It looks like they took a recycling bin.
So
I feel
you
like I've
touched
snuck a
earlier
trash
too
can.
about like, oh, you touched earlier about like the injuries and stuff that you had. You didn't know what you were going to do in like 2013. In 2015, you were actually offered a coaching position with the Brewers and turned it down to sign another deal. What was the reason behind that?
It was actually 2014.
Oh,
I was approached by some of the guys in the front office. I was in Double A at the time. I was the oldest guy in Double A by like 7 years. And anyway, they were like, "Hey, you're probably done with your career, so why don't we just go ahead and start transitioning you into like a, maybe a coach, maybe a roving coordinator, something like that type of role." And I was like, "I don't know, man." I was like, "I did really good this year. My stuff was really good. It played really well." I was like, "No, I don't think I'm ready for that." That's when I went and ended up playing in Venezuela and did awesome there. I was actually pitching some of the most important innings, even got a save, which it's really tough to get a save as a gringo when you're playing the most competitive winter league there is. And anyway, I did really well, and it was I came back home. It was just after Christmas, and the Brewers, I contacted them, told them, "Hey, man, I'm healthy. Look what I'm doing. I'm putting up good numbers. I'm striking out guys that are big leaguers." And so they're like, "Okay, we'll sign you to a minor league deal." So, each year has been different. I keep wanting to try to grind it out, but yeah, I've considered coaching and stuff like that. In that particular moment, I was like, "Nah, man, I got some left in the tank." That just didn't seem like the right time. But getting retiring like a month ago, like it was probably the right time. It was the right time. My wife told me it was the right time.
you always know it's the right time when the missus speaks up and tells you this is what's going to happen. Don't say no. I wear the pants in the house. She just tells me which ones to put on.
That's why I'm divorced twice.
Exactly.
So the other,
you're a Cubs fan.
That's true too.
So the other thing, the Brewers are kind of known, and you're basically legendary in Milwaukee for all your funny man stuff. Are you going to help coordinate any of the videos? Like, the Brewers did The Sandlot, they did Dumb and Dumber. Are you gonna get in on any of that? Try to help coordinate any of that, choreograph a little bit.
I've been approached by the social media department or whatever, but they've actually had some turnaround, I think, in the last year or so. So I don't know if that's still like their goal on doing stuff like that. I find those videos hilarious, honestly, and I think it really goes to show you how extraordinary some of these guys are. Like, yes, they're some of the best in the world at their craft, but at the same time, they're humans that love movies, and they, some of them can act really well. So, I mean, I'm actually going to try to do whatever I can when I'm at American Family Field, because it's just sitting there for the most part, just waiting to just be filmed and have some fun. So I'm going to go down the slide. I'm going to try to run in the sausage race. I'm going to try to do everything I can because it's fun, man. It's baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. So you like all the funny man stuff. What's the best prank you've ever seen pulled on a baseball field?
That I've seen personally?
Yeah, or been a part of, or done yourself.
Oh, part of? I don't know. There's really not that many, like, guys don't really go out of the way to do pranks anymore. I've seen it go wrong several times.
Left turn.
There's like small pranks of just, whatever, like lighting a shoelace on fire, like that kind of used to be the thing. Or like you take, a cup and you line it with gum and then stick it on their hat. That kind of stuff is fun. Yeah. I'll tell you the first one I saw go really wrong was there was a guy that was he was like the last one in the clubhouse and first one out, right? Like you don't ever be that guy. Don't be the guy that barely shows up on time and then is the first one out after the game. But anyway, rubbed somebody the wrong way, so they decided, okay, well, during the game, I'm going to take all this stuff, dunk it in water, and then put it in the freezer. So,
oh no,
like his street clothes, it's like, jeans and shirt, and all that.
Oh, man.
And everyone's kind of in the dugout, kind of laughing, like, oh, because he's one of those guys that's going to get really mad. And I was just like, I don't think that was a good idea, but that would be fine. And the guy was really upset because his wallet was in his jeans, and I think he had a cell phone at the time. I think those were around. So like, it seemed like a harmless joke, but then all of a sudden it's like, this is like, my wallet of my family. My photos are ruined. You know,
Right.
that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
no.
I don't know. There's all sorts of pranks you can do out there that are not harmful, but they're just not as big time that you see. The best one I ever heard is the one that Cody Decker did to I forgot who it was, maybe Jeff Francoeur. When they were in El Paso in AAA, he convinced him that one of the pitchers in the bullpen was deaf. So for like an entire season, Jeff Francoeur would go to this pitcher and be like, "Hey man, how are you?" And the guy would be like, you know, but I mean, it's kind of funny, but like to keep that up for so long, like they did, is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I know Cody Decker, and I've met Francoeur once, and Pat Murphy was the manager. He's the bench coach of the Brewers now. So like, you know, when you have those people come together and kind of put on this kind of skit that lasts for so long, I mean, it's pretty genius and definitely memorable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you got anything else?
Your lapel pins, do you got a different one for every game, or do we have to scrounge up and like just send you stuff? Because the I don't know what I'm doing one was great.
Yeah, very scary, accurate. Yeah. I don't know. I asked what, you know, when I got the job, I was like, "Can I wear a lapel pin?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's okay." And I was like, "Can it say whatever I want?" And they're like, "To a degree." I was like, "I'll keep it PG, but like, I want to wear a different lapel pin for every game." And they were like, "Okay, sure, cool, that's fine, whatever." It seems ridiculous, but sure. So I just started looking at lapel pins online and going to stores and got a bunch of them. And I mean, I find them hilarious. I actually let Craig Kashan pick them out most of the time. Brian Anderson picked one out the other day. He was like, "You got to wear this one." So I did it, and he brought it up on the air, the one that says, "I have no idea what I'm doing." But the other day, the Brewers won a game when I was wearing my popcorn pin. So what do I have to do, right? I have to wear it the next day. I don't want to be the guy that breaks the streak. So they won another game. So I wore it yesterday, but they lost. And anyway, so no more popcorn pin for now. But
So
it's fun. Send them to me. If you have a good one, yeah, send it to me. I'll wear it.
if I send you a W flag, a Cubs W flag, will you wear it after a time that the Cubs beat the Brewers?
Probably not. I'll turn it upside down to an N.
It's worth a shot.
Maybe if it's the L flag, you can send the L flag.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, Tim. Hey, man, I appreciate everything. You know, you coming on the show, giving us some of your time. We need to make this a regular thing, man, because this was really fun.
Awesome. I'm in. Yeah, I just got to change my my clothes, put it in the dryer.
Hey, yeah. Hey, anytime you're at the laundromat, give us a call. We'll set something up.
Like I said,
laundry with
Pat
Tim.
McAfee's got
See what I got.
Tuesdays with Aaron. We got time out with Tim.